On Saturdays, we tend to get a lot of the more complex feet in. So even if they haven't booked in to see Jill, it's always nice to have Jill to call on. If Jill notices that something's not quite right and she thinks that the footwear that we provide can help that person, then we can kind of do an in tandem shoe fitting to figure out exactly what's going to be best for that person.
Yeah, it was quite a nice example of the little kiddie today, wasn't it? He'd
Yeah.
got his shoes already, but wasn't wearing them until we'd got the insoles in place. Mum had noticed that around the house he was just stomping a bit and catching his feet a little bit. So we then were able to think, well, what does he need to actually make him walk better? And we'd got the insoles at that point,
Yeah.
so we were able to actually have a discussion about what was available in terms of, I'm thinking maybe he needed a little bit more flexibility in the toe box. And then you had a look at the range and thought, and sort of, it wasn't just working with the insoles, the flexibility, so tried on a few different
Yeah.
pairs for him. It was just nice to be able to spend that time trying out the different shoes, seeing what worked
Yeah.
best for him and comparing notes on what we thought was,
Yeah.
he was doing and how he was looking.
Yeah, and
So-
it's nice because you can also, because you're doing that with two professionals that almost have, you've got the same goal but two different approaches. So it's always nice to see like how everything works together. And I think that especially when it's parents with their children who are brought their children in here to have their feet checked or their gait looked at or their feet looked at, when they've got two people of different professions that are really taking care of the things that matter to that child's health, I think it's nice for them, and it puts them a lot of ease to know that though we've tried all of the options, this is the best thing that you can do right now.
Parents do naturally get quite concerned about problems and skeletal problems with children, and when the children are in some sort of pain and discomfort. As you say, from two different angles, we've both come to the same point and said, actually, yeah, this is the thing that's working best for this child.
Another good example of that was actually last week, where we had the little child whose second or third toe was kicking up a little bit, and it wasn't necessarily something that was giving the child any kind of problems at that point, but the mum was obviously concerned about it, and she brought it up with me as a shoe fitter, and I mean, we got quite lucky because Jill was then between clients. But I was able to kind of say, Jill, do you mind just coming out having a quick look at this? And she gave the mum some really good advice, and they're going to come in and see Jill for a couple of little bits and pieces. But it's that reassurance that just puts parents' minds at ease, and to know that their kids are in the very best of hands. At least we hope.
And almost giving them a time scale for it, because that wasn't something we needed to do there and then. There was no rush. We could give it time and let's just see if it improves on its own.
Yeah.
But if 6 months' time we've still got this problem, then come in and see me.
Yeah.
And that's sort of nice. You don't have to sort of make that sort of rushed judgment on a lot of these things, and the parents are happy with that.
Yeah, exactly. So all of the shoe fitters in here, we know our stock. For all the knowledge that a podiatrist has, I don't think they have enough time to go and look at every single footwear brand out there, figure out what's good. When it comes down to the actual fitting, like there isn't one brand that does it better than another. There isn't one shoe that necessarily does it better than another. It's always quite individual on that basis. So from a shoe fitting point of view, when it comes to the actual footwear, it's our knowledge of stock, how it works with different foot shapes, different shape orthotics. We are not as shoe fitters, not in any way medical or medically trained to be able to diagnose problems or prescribe insoles, and I think that's kind of where you take over then, isn't it?
Yeah, I think probably knowing what's going to happen to that foot development over the next few years is something maybe we'd specialise in more, and the mechanics of the foot, why that particular problem's happening. And bits, and I think again with the shoe fitter's experience, you know when you put the child in that shoe what you're going to see happen. Whereas a bit like the kiddie today, I'm thinking we need to go lightweight and more flexible, and you're saying actually no, let's try the heavier one because and it was true, you got that effect because putting that foot into that shoe you're going to see this change, which is something as a podiatrist you probably don't always realise that's going to happen. But we're both pretty good on the posture and muscular type of things, and so you're very good at spotting where muscle weaknesses are and those sorts of things. So again, we combine with that quite a lot and think, actually they're going to need more strengthening in this particular area.
Yeah, and I think that comes with a part of the other stuff that I do in the clinic here as well, with the muscle strength testing, the pain rehab, and all of that, because like that's more of a slightly more medical focus to it. I can help guide the other shoe fitters on what to kind of look out for. So when a child's striking their foot, is it just the lower part of their leg that's turning in? Is it the whole of their leg that's turning in? Should they be coming to see the podiatrist first? Should they be seeing the physio first? Sometimes shoes aren't the place to start. Then we say to them, go and see this person first. Sometimes podiatry isn't necessarily the place to start, and they say go and see the physio first. So it's nice to kind of have everything under that one roof, where we can kind of cater for everyone's needs without them having to travel too far.
No, and also communicate between ourselves really easily, which again, sometimes if you're just referring to somebody who's in a different town, you don't have that instant communication, whereas, I can open the door and just suddenly talk to you about whatever patient it was, client it was. Yeah.